Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I'm so excited to be here with you. I hope you can hear it in my voice. I hope that you feel the same, that you got to, right? You're listening to the program, so there's got to be something in it for you. Look, I get all your messages. You want me to, and I told you guys, Blake is working on a show. Tim's about to get married. I got other friends we want to bring on. We're going to be working on making the show better in the new year. So I'm going to have a little bit of downtime during the holidays to make that happen. But we are looking to blow this thing up. If you know anything about social media, marketing, things like that, give us a shout. We'd love to have your inputs because we're not experts at this. In fact, we're not even experts at radio at all. I mean, don't you get it? It's funny. You know, radio to me is so formulaic. I just want to do something different. And a lot of the networks are like, well, Kevin, you need to do this. I'm not doing this is me. This is my personality. And I look at radio as we're sitting around in my living room or we're at a barbecue in your backyard and we're having a conversation. If it goes beyond that, then I'm not interested. Look, I get the commercial elements and things like that. Look, if we wanted to run around chasing sponsors, I don't know, we certainly have more. I mean, anything I put my mind to, I achieve it. In fact, I overachieve it. But the fact is, I don't have the time. If somebody wants to sponsor the show, send me a note and we'll make it happen. But boy, I don't have time for it. I mean, I wish I did. I wish I had the personality that allowed for that. I'll give you an example. One of my buddies is a guy named Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk runs Turning Point USA. Great organization. What a go-getter. Kid's 23 years old, I think, 24. When he was 17 or 18, he started Turning Point, went to the top 50 millionaires and billionaires that give to conservative causes and ask every single one of them to back his play. Only one of them did, a personal friend of mine by the name of Foster Freeze. Foster gave Charlie, I don't know, tens of thousands, I think 50,000, 100,000 bucks, got Charlie started. Boom, Turning Point is changing politics in America. It's on hundreds of campuses across the nation. Anyway, I was at an event with Charlie in New York, and I have never seen a kid work a room to the degree that he did. This guy knew everybody. He was going up, shaking hands and all that. That's not me. I'm just not that dude. I wish I were, because if I were, I would be filthy rich because people want to help with what we're doing. I'm an idea guy and I need implementers. So if you are organized and you want to help and you say, Kevin, I can figure things out for you. I'm a stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, and I got time. You know, my spouse makes enough money, whatever. Give us a shout. We need your help. And it's not a desperation thing, but I'm just telling you where I fail. But if we ever took all of our ideas, which, by the way, we are focusing and honing in on, and we put them to work, you would see success beyond belief. I mean, we would spread the word of conservatism across this country in a way that and I'm not, belittling anybody else's efforts, but it would be in a way that you've never seen. It's just the truth. Anyway, here's what I want to do. We got Thanksgiving coming up. You guys heard me talk about Thanksgiving yesterday. I'm gloriously happy that we are celebrating the very first Thanksgiving under President Trump. Yippee! Our first Trump president Thanksgiving. Think about what we could be saying. We could be saying it's our second Thanksgiving under Hillary Clinton with her being president-elect and now president. But we're not. And that was against all odds. So good for us. We are celebrating the first one where President Trump gets to give the reprieve to the turkey and so on and so forth. And I decided to celebrate. So I went to a Honey Baked Ham. I was looking for a ham for Thanksgiving. Go to Honey Baked Ham. And I walk in the store. I actually was at the grocery store getting stuff, and I went, I got to get a Honey Baked Ham because I've gotten one sporadically throughout the years. And here's what's funny. I eat ham for breakfast. I know I eat the pig, and I eat ham for breakfast. Either bacon or ham. Something quick. It's fatty, but it's got protein. Forget it. It's my diet. So I'm eating. This time I said I was at the grocery store. I was going to get regular ham, and I went, no, I'm going to go get Honey Baked Ham because it's the holidays. So I go to the Honey Baked Ham store, and immediately they got this thing, a little kiosk where you can eat their. It's like a pound cake. I don't know what you call it. It was a cinnamon swirl pound cake. So the little tasters are there. So I go, okay, I'll get one. And I tasted it. It was delicious. I'm not trying to give these guys a shout out, but it was really good. So I went, okay, well, we'll get ourselves a pound cake. I'm thinking it's $4. And then I walk up to the thing and the guy goes, I said, I can't remember how to order the ham. I mean, I see the different sizes. I could see I was like, I don't need a big one. I just, there's not that many people going to eat this ham. So the guy goes, well, you want a little one? I go, yeah, of course. So he says, well, look. So he brings out a ham. I look at it and go, yeah, I'll take that ham. So I'm reaching in my wallet to pay. He goes, no, pay as you walk out. So there are two people there. I pick one of them. I hand her my ham and my pound cake. She rings it up and says $73. Man, I almost passed the kid. It was like passing a kidney stone. I was like, what? $73 for a little bitty ham. I'm laughing at myself now because I didn't have the guts to take it back and go, I'm not paying $70. I was like, okay, brother, can't look like he don't have the money. So, well, y'all, you can laugh. It's okay. Feel free to laugh. So I paid $73 for a pound cake and a ham. I mean, this is like a 5-pound ham and the pound cake box. I take it out of the box. This thing looks like it's one of them pound cake juniors. I mean, I was like, you've got to be kidding me, man. So as much as I'm, this is a commercial for Honey Bake, it's kind of not, because I'm telling you, if you want to go there and feed the family, feed the childrens, and you get yourself a big Honey Bake and you get yourself a couple of those pound cakes, man, you better have a Guatemalan midget with some money in his pocket, because it was ugly. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? When she rang up $73, I looked down, what? And she just kind of went, yep. I will never forget the look on both our faces, because she looked at mine and went, I know. Oh, man. We got a lot to talk about. I want to recap Donald Trump's first year. I really do, because you're talking about a dude who really checked a lot of things off the box. The only check mark so far that I really say Donald Trump missed was Hillary Clinton prosecution. And I don't know that he had as much control over that as he would have wanted, but he promised us that. He backed off of it. Now he's back on the trail, so who knows? We may get a Christmas present. More on Christmas presents when we come back, folks. Kevin Jackson.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Oh my God. How many lies can you pack into a tweet? He'll be a no on tax cuts because his political career anyway is toast. You know what's toast? Morals in America. Honestly. And it starts from the top down. When you have a president with absolutely no morals, who's a bully, who acts like a bigot and a racist, and is a sexist and a sexual harasser, you really have problems when that starts at the top. And then you have a problem with your party. And it's a problem for our country. It is. That is the most ridiculous tweet actually, it's not. There have been so many, Heidi.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. That was Mika Brzezinski, and she's describing Trump. But all I have to say to that, the morals of the country, we have no morals, and the bully, the bigot, the racist, the sexist, the sexual harasser, etc. He's ours. I claim him. You know, it's funny to listen to the left. MSNBC's Morning Joe, and there's Joe Scarborough with his leftist girlfriend. And he's just sitting there like, like a eunuch. I mean, a cuckold husband going, yep, what she said. He's supposed to be a Republican. He's supposed to be looking at this. Let me just put it to you another way. I don't care what you think about Donald Trump personally, if you want to believe the hype about what he's done or whatever, which I don't, because I can tell you this. I know people, and I'll throw myself into this. There are a point in your life where it's go, no go. You give certain young men the amount of opportunity and money that Donald Trump had and privilege that he had as a child, as a youngster, and it's easy to go the wrong way. And I know there are women out there going, Kevin, I don't know about this, and then there are guys out there going, Kevin, you're on dangerous territory. I'm on dangerous territory. A guy sends me a note yesterday, and he says. Or no, it was the day before yesterday, and he says to me, Kevin, your comment on Al Franken is sure to offend some people, and, you're offending half your audience when you say Al Franken did nothing, and he says, you're essentially condoning sexual assault. And I said, I in no way said that. Not in a fraction of a way did I ever say that. What I said is, Al Franken pretending to put his hands on a woman's breast in a picture as a gag while she was sleeping is not anything. And I stand by it 1,000%. That's nothing. Al Franken writing in a kiss in a script that he had control over. If the girl went for it, good for him. She said she had him take it out. I didn't want to kiss him. Okay, great. Now, if he forced himself on her in any way, I condemn his actions. But if you're going to tell me that, pretending to touch a girl's breast, let me just tell you, go look at the montage of the people who have grabbed guys by the crotch. These are women, leftist women, grabbing men by the crotch and so on and so forth. We've put it up. So the people that want to appear to be so sanctimonious about this stuff drive me crazy. I can tell you, I have absolutely, I'm talking about friends, people that I know, I've grabbed them by the butt, or like, hey, hit a friend girl by the butt. I've had them do it to me. There's nothing new here under the sun, folks. And we act as if, oh, that's so offensive. No, it's been made. We're making things offensive that used to just be good-natured fun. It's the same thing with the way you address your buddies or use the word chick, or some girl uses the word dude, or what. I mean, not that men are ever, protected from any of this stuff. And we're going to be talking about this in a real way. And I know there are people, let me put it to you this way. I don't care if you're offended by me giving you the actual way that people should view each other and have viewed each other for decades. That in no way infringes upon the rights of women. And last time I checked, we had a women's revolution that occurred that said women wanted to be men. And let's face it, leftist men certainly want to be women. So we become one unisex nation. And suddenly we've got morality that's swinging very much to one direction. Let me put it to you this way. If it continues this way, there will be no men in charge anywhere. Let me ask you, do you think women can sexually harass? What about lesbian women? Do they not have the same issues as men? If there a lesbian woman's in charge, maybe she's going to give special treatment to a woman who wants such and such. What if it's a gay man? What if he's giving special treatment to a gay guy? You know, you get the best shift, etc. Carlos, given that we can all pick our genders, we have multiple genders and multiple, things we can decide we want to be, and so on and so forth. How can there possibly be any exploitation of anybody? Just explain it to me. Because see, when it was just men and women, and men were solidly in charge and they were doing the things that they were doing, I get it. I watch Mad Men. I love the show. And I told people, I love the idea of the show, the feel of the show. But what it did is it did point out the inconsistencies of how men behaved and how women were very subservient to men at the time. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but it's certainly not to the level that the women are trying to make it these days. Not anywhere close. Women are in charge, large and in charge. I'll use Fox as an example. I'm in New York. There are 3 people in the room, 4 people at one point, and the 2 dudes, we were the lowest ranking people in the room. The 2 women executives were the ones making a decision on my future with Fox, and I had no problem with it. I have ultimate respect for them. Let's look at what Fox is doing. They're turning things around and kicking butt. Now, do I agree with everything they do? No. But I think they've done a masterful job. And I don't look at it as, oh, these women can't tell me anything or whatever. But here's Brzezinski trying to make Trump out to be no morals. He's a bully, bigot, racist, sexist, sexual harasser. And you know what she's telling you? That's everything she's experienced on the left. First, think about it this way. The way Brzezinski is sitting her butt in that chair is because of her boyfriend, Joe Scarborough, sitting right next to her. That's how she got her butt in that chair. Through sleeping her way to the top. Now, I don't care if that's what she wanted to do to get on TV and to be able to spew venom at us. Fine. But don't try to moralize and make it sound like, we're the ones doing it. I didn't do anything to her. You didn't do anything to her. Scarborough gave her an opportunity. He's a Republican. He's given her an opportunity. What is this hatred of men? This idea that I played a clip the other day of Trevor Noah. Men, it's all our fault. It isn't our fault. It's not our fault. There are some bad men in the world, but let me tell you, there are some unscrupulous women that are ruining it. Not only for men, but they're ruining it for women. These guys that are being accused, look, don't misunderstand me. I make no defense for Charlie Rose and Al Franken and some of these other people if their behavior goes beyond. But I'll tell you, you've got lots of mixed signals out there with the women of today, and people know it, especially the feminists.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. 844-551-8255. If you want to call the show. Got off on a bit of a tangent in the last segment because I wanted to discuss Donald Trump. Played his record for the year, played Mika Brzezinski's clip where she's calling the president racist, sexist, whatever. It's become like a broken record. And I got to tell you guys, I love it when I hear the left doing the same things. They don't know. She doesn't know what to say. Everything is crumbling under the weight of liberalism on their side of the aisle, and they're going, "Oh, we can still blame Trump. He's a sex." Let me tell you something. In comparison to what Charlie Rose is now said he's done, in comparison to Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and many others, and folks, let me tell you, the dam is only beginning to break. Yeah, it's only beginning to break. It's just getting leaks at this point. It's going to break. Go look at the number of people. It's been leaking out, and the press does a good job of just going, oh, it's no big deal. Russell Simmons got accused. Ratner got accused. You're going to see names. You won't even know these people, but they are movers and shakers in the world of entertainment, in the world of media, etc. All on the left, politicians left and right. You will start to see this begin to happen. And I mean, it'll start to happen more and more and more. It'll become mainstream. Now, the women's movement will try to isolate itself. They'll say, well, look at what all these men are doing. It's horrible. In fact, let's go into that and we'll cover President Trump's year a little bit later. But I want to go into that because there are a group of people saying the same thing. I told you guys, Trevor Noah's blaming men. Nice try. I'm not taking credit for it. I've never forced myself on any woman, nor would I. Most of the guys I know that are conservatives, we have respect for women. If I see a woman and she's drunk, I don't look at that as an opportunity to steal her drink. No, I'm kidding. I don't look at that as an opportunity to take advantage of her. I look at it as somebody's got to get her home safely. I've done that in bars. I've gone up to girls and said, hey, your friend is up there in the back. You know, she looks pretty drunk, and there's a guy, macking on her. And the girls will go, where? Oh my gosh. I've gone to, to run interference to say, she seems drunk. You might want to take her home. That kind of thing. I mean, because I look at it as that could be my sister, somebody like that. I don't look to exploit. Leftist men look to exploit. I'm telling you, it's the truth. They can get mad, but they know I'm not kidding. Look, conservative guys, I'm not telling you that conservative guys don't do lecherous things too. That's not the case. But I will tell you, if per capita, you do not want to be around liberal guys. They will take advantage of you in ways you don't even want to think about. And so everybody tries to make it sound like, Donald Trump's the bad guy, conservative guys, men are the bad guys. Let me tell you something. Women are just as complicit. But I want to play something. I want you to hear something about how women, feminist, leftist Democrat women in power are treating this whole thing. So here's Elizabeth Warren on what needs to change.
About abuse of power.
Yep.
Al Franken, a comedian I've long admired and a politician I've recently admired, has been caught up in two accusations, one of which he's acknowledged and apologized for. People are calling for Al Franken to step down. Do you think he should?
So, look, I was just enormously disappointed about this. I knew Senator Franken long before he was Senator Franken and his wife Franny. These allegations are serious, and women have a right to be heard and listened to on this. Al is going to be subjected to a hearing in the United States Senate, an investigation. We have had for a long time now in the Senate, long before I got there, a bipartisan ethics committee that meets on a regular basis, and he's going to go in and answer.
Now, I stopped it there for a reason. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. She doesn't answer the question. What she does is she obfuscates and she does something else. She humanizes Al. Well, I know Al and I know his wife, Franny. What's that got to do with anything? You were asked a question. What should happen? Should he step down? She doesn't answer. She says, no, there's a ethics deal, blah, blah, blah. We police each other in the Senate and it's bipartisan and they're going to look into it and all that. That's all subterfuge. None of these guys nothing ever happens. They've got a slush fund that pays for people like Al Franken, the Office of Compliance. They pay for them when they do these things. You pay for it. And do you think Colbert is going to follow up on that as a question? Well, wait a minute. We just found out that we're paying for these types of things if Al Franken were to be sued or anybody were to be sued. Does he press Elizabeth Warren for the lies that she told about, well, I got chased around the office one time by somebody? Nobody is making her come to, give us more about that story. Why didn't you report the Democrat who was chasing you around the office? Who else had he chased around? If he chased you, didn't he chase somebody else? Women's movement? You know, all these women, they're settling. Oh, I settled a lawsuit so I can't talk. They are the ones propagating what's happening in every phase of their lives, whether it's in academia, whether it's in education. That's the same thing. I get it. Okay. Entertainment, you name it, media, they are all covering it up for the people that they extol the virtues on. Like what's her name, Meryl Streep, who gave a rousing speech for Roman Polanski, the people who continue to hang around Woody Allen, the people who covered up for Weinstein, and they want to blame us? These are the people allowing this. And oh, by the way, that we're not talking about a bunch of Republicans and conservatives that descended upon academia and education. That was a joke. Academia and entertainment and media. No, it's leftist men. It's the very men who tell you, I'm here to protect women. I'm a person who loves to protect women. Harvey Weinstein probably has a women's protection, charity or something, just so he could get away with this. And Elizabeth Warren wants to obfuscate. She doesn't want to answer the question. Now, you guys have heard my take on Al Franken, and if he did more than that, shame on him. But as I said, if he only put his hands up in a picture, I don't find that to be that big of a deal. But what I do find to be a big deal is all these things that are happening, and every time it happens, Elizabeth Warren and her ilk, they cover it up. Ask yourself a very simple question. I did a little thing yesterday, a segment called What If? What if Donald Trump's picture was there, doing a woman's breast like that? What if it was documented that Donald Trump had forced himself on a woman to kiss her or whatever? I don't know what all the different things that have been claimed by Al Franken. What if Donald Trump had done what Charlie Rose had done? What if Donald Trump had done what the New York Times reporter that we just exposed, who left a girl in tears as he berated her because she didn't want to, capitulate? What if Donald Trump had done anything close to what Weinstein had done? What do you think Elizabeth Warren would be saying right now? Would she be talking about, well, I know Melania and, she's a nice person and this is going to be an ethics committee and all that. There are people calling for his impeachment. There are people to this day, they still label Donald Trump as a misogynist when there's not one ounce of evidence that says that he is. They trotted out an old girlfriend and misused her quotes to the point where she came out in the media and said, you are lying about what I said about Donald Trump. On every turn, these people have been caught lying, and they do the same thing. And so they're the ones who propagate this. Let me ask you, how many people has Weinstein paid off? How many women? So ask yourself, when he paid off the first woman, how many women did he molest before he got to the next one and then did another payoff? How much money do you think the Weinstein Company paid women? I don't know. I don't have the number, but it's millions of dollars. And so every woman, every feminist in Hollywood who kept her mouth shut, they're complicit. Then ask yourself this. So there are the women who knew, and I'm talking about who were part of it, who got paid off, etc. And then there was the whisper campaign. And how many of those women warned women and said, hey, look, stay away from Harvey. Don't go near him. I heard that so-and-so got paid off. None of them. He was at party, gala, you name it. He even had the president, the first lady of America, Michelle Obama, singing his praises. He has Hillary Clinton in pictures and galas celebrating, affectionately holding this man. And Bill Clinton is her husband. How many things would Trump have had to do that Bill Clinton did before people would have looked at him and said, this guy's not fit to be president? And their excuse is, well, it's a different time now. No, it wasn't. It's 25 years ago. It was no different. We felt the same about sexual harassment and rape then as we do now. The left are just lying about it. They want you to believe the unbelievable.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
And here's where I see this whole thing going right now. We're going to watch this play out with famous men. It's happened in lots of places. Lots of them are talked about. And this is a moment in America as I see it. And the question is whether this is a moment that's a big flash and then nothing really changes. Nobody feels like they have to answer. Or is this a moment when there's real change? And I'll tell you how I think we're going to know whether or not it's a moment when there's real change. It's going to be when there's accountability for famous people, but it's more going to be when the shift manager decides that maybe giving the good shifts only to women who will play sex games back in the dressing room is not a good idea. And when the jerk over in accounting decides that pressing up against women who are caught at the photocopying machine might not be smart. And when the boss decides that telling those dirty jokes and talking about who's got great boobs and a killer ass is better rethink his management strategy. When that sort of thing happens for women all across this country, then we'll know there's been real change.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. So if we got to go in here in a second very quickly. I know it's a big question. If Roy Moore wins, should the Senate expel him?
We're not there yet.
Where are we?
We're still pre-election. And I think we have a really good candidate on the Democratic side. And the people of Alabama need to get out there, and I hope they support that Democratic candidate.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. What a ringing endorsement for that Democratic candidate. She's on nationwide TV, Elizabeth Warren, on Colbert Show, which gets, like 50 people to watches it? And she can't remember the Democrat candidate's name. Oh, my goodness. And that other stuff, the shift manager, and what Elizabeth Warren wants people to believe is that the world is run by men, and all these men are lecherous. Their goal isn't capitalism. Their goal is to take advantage of women in the workplace. And let me put it to you this way. If you were to put all men in the workplace and the shift manager was on there, he's going to show favoritism, nepotism, whatever. He's going to say, I really like Kevin. I'm going to give Kevin the better shift. You want to know why? Because I'm going to be funny and I'm going to be a joy to work with. Man, Kev's cool. I want him around. So I'm going to give him the best shift. And so maybe my personality is the reason why I get the best shift. Should now we legislate against personality? to have these people believe if a guy goes, I like this person, I like seeing, maybe somebody's pretty. Look, we have our biases. I'm not telling you that it's necessarily right. Maybe somebody is just a stellar worker. And so he gives a shift to somebody because he goes, you know what, that dude works hard. Are we going to penalize hard work? Look, I'm not trying to downplay the idea that somebody says, I'm going to put this person in, give this person a better shift because they, for whatever reason, because the only side of that, what Elizabeth Warren and everybody wants you to believe is that these decisions are being made based on somebody deciding, she'll put out. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been given preferential treatment in things, and it wasn't because I put out. It was because somebody liked being around me. Maybe they said maybe it was because the people in that particular crew had a better camaraderie. Why does a basketball team say change go from this player to player number 7? Because they want to change the chemistry of the team. Everything's not about sexuality. See, the left want us to believe that all we do is think with our loins. Well, maybe that's the way they are. See, what I try to explain to you guys is that when you're hearing these people talk, don't think that it's because of you. It's them, and they're looking at everything that they think. They are telling you their vices. They're telling you their nightmares, their crazy dreams. They're explaining to you how they think. When I'll put it to you this way: I run a company, and I don't think, wow, that Kirk's a heavy set. We call him Vanilla Wafer, but Kirk's a heavy set brother. He's a white dude, but he's my brother in Christ. But Kirk, I'm not going to give Kirk preferential treatment because I want him. You know what I'm saying? It's because the dude works hard. I've got Chris. We got a lot of Chris's in the company. Chris Allen, one of my graphics guys, my video guys. Chris isn't going to get preferential treatment because I want to get with him. You know what I mean? It's because he works hard. And I could go on. I look at what is the best way for us to do our job most effectively, and that's how I make decisions about who's going to do what. These people, the left, I'm telling you, they are crazy. But anyway, I was talking about how they view what's going on in this whole sort of battle, if you will, of it's man against woman, because the left, they see this as an opportunity for women to dominate. And as I said, if you take this to its logical conclusion, there will be no men left in power. That's what feminism is about. But I also want to play something because you're hearing these people say the same thing. Gillibrand gets asked about Hillary Clinton. By the way, she backs off the statement, and I think they had a conversation about Franken. But I want to play this clip, and I think you'll hear some of the same conversation that even Elizabeth Warren. I've heard about 4 politicos who are all women say essentially the same talking points when it comes to Franken. But here's Gillibrand.
You mentioned that we're in a moment that this has sort of changed. The context has changed over the last 20 years. You told the New York Times that Bill Clinton should have resigned over the Lewinsky affair. My point is that the tolerance that we had 25 years ago, what was allowed 25 years ago, it will not be tolerated today, is not allowed today, and that we have to have the kind of oversight and accountability that society needs so that we can protect people in the workplace, that people can function without having an unsafe work environment, whether it's in the military. So you're saying President Clinton created an unsafe work environment in the White House? No, I'm saying that this conversation we are having today is really important, and that the kind of behavior that was tolerated a long time ago would never be tolerated today, and we can't allow it to be tolerated today. That in fact, all of us needs to recognize none of us are above this, and all of us have to be responsible for how we create a workplace in our own office, for my office, how we do our oversight in Congress with providing better oversight over the military, which is our job, with Title IX on college campuses. So we have to do our job. We are all responsible, and we all have to understand that time has changed, and we have to hold people. And elected leaders should not be held to the lowest standard. They should be held to the highest standard.
Welcome back, everybody. Senator Gillibrand, who said Bill Clinton should have resigned, and now she's saying what was tolerated then shouldn't be tolerated now. Let me tell you something, Senator Gillibrand. Tolerating molesting of young interns when you're president of the United States, that shouldn't be tolerated then or now. But what Bill Clinton did to Kathleen Willey in the White House shouldn't be tolerated then or now. What's funny, she was right, and somebody got to her and said, "You can't go out there and say this. You're going after one of our sacred cows." Now I don't know whether the Clintons still have clout or not, because it's a mixed thing every time we do a story about them. But somebody got to her, because rape of Juanita Broderick shouldn't be tolerated then or now. Trying to rape and expose yourself to Paula Jones wasn't tolerated then, and it shouldn't be tolerated now. It got Bill Clinton impeached. His lying about it. What are they talking about? And she keeps talking about oversight and accountability, unsafe work environment in the military. And the interviewer presses her. He's like, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? That Bill Clinton created an unsafe work environment? Yes, she did. That's exactly what he did. But what's funny about it is she kept wanting to go back to the military and Title IX. Let me tell you what they're saying there, folks. They're talking about women in the military, and Title IX is girls and women in college, in sports and things like that. That's what they're talking about. It's all got to be equal and this, that, and the other. And you can't be, pulling this stuff on women. Again, I ask, what's the feminist movement been about if we're supposed to all be equal? Women work, they have great jobs, they can start their own companies, etc. And suddenly we're still the bad guys. You can't make me the bad guy when you've already got your equality. Women can do the same thing to men that men can do to women. And in fact, I don't know that we've heard about it, but you got to know there are women in power who are discriminating against men, and we hear nothing about it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and we have tons to be thankful for. All politics aside, let's look at what we need to be thankful for as individuals. I mean, the fact that we've come together in this strange sort of cosmic way, I think is something to be thankful for. I'm certainly thankful for you as my audience. And as much as we want to get the word out, and that maybe speaks to success and things like that, you know what? I'm just thankful you're here. I'm thankful that we share a common bond in some kind of way at a level that's deeper than a lot of friendships, to be honest with you. You guys tune in for whatever reason, and you listen to me. You send me notes, phone calls, all kinds of ways we contact one another. And to be honest with you, I'm in contact with some of you more than I'm in contact with family and friends, which makes us family and friends to a degree. So I'm grateful for you. And I guess in some kind of way, I'm not going to speak for my audience, but you're grateful for me. So, all politics aside, most of you are the type of people I would hang out with in a minute. You've invited me to stay at your homes. I've stayed in some of your homes. You've invited me to dinner. We've commiserated in one form or another. It's crazy. So I truly am grateful. Hey, a real quick shout out to TNT, Travis Tritt's youngest son. And he's 14 years old. He turned 14 years old 2 days ago. Gave him a shout out on Twitter, but I want to say happy birthday to the kiddo. And Travis and I had an exchange because his son's initials are TNT. And Travis gave his son a black name, which is funny. So I was razzing him on Twitter about it. Speaking of which, we've got the movie Bleeding Blue that's coming out, and we've wrapped, and we're not going to release the movie for some time because we're waiting on Kevin Sorbo's movie Let There Be Light to finish its run. Kevin's doing some work for us. So when all that's done, then we'll be releasing the movie. But Travis lives in Atlanta. We're going to do an event in Atlanta. I don't know what we're going to do specifically, but Travis will be involved. One of my other good buddies there runs an investment firm in Atlanta. He's agreed to help out. So I don't know what we're going to do, but it will be a special night with friends, and Travis Tritt will come and probably hang out and maybe play a little bit, and we're going to have some fun together. I'm going to make sure that, look, this is a grind. And it's a grind that I've made a labor of love for two reasons. One is I believe in this cause more than I believe in life itself. And I fight for you. I fight for my children, my grandchildren eventually, and posterity, etc. And the second part of it, and probably what should be number one, is God told me to do it, so I'm doing it. And doggone it, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And if it's going to be a part of my life, I'm going to integrate it, and we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it something that is not just getting up, beating up on liberals, because I don't care about beating up on liberals. I don't need to fight another day in my life. I have fought for decades. I'm talking about in the ring and out of the ring, and I've been a scrapper my whole life for everything I've wanted to achieve. And I've done okay. If I don't go any farther in life financially, so be it. But what I do want to do is I want to make sure that whatever fight that's left, it's done with the idea, with a good heart. You know, I don't wake up in the morning to beat up on liberals because they're there. You know, I'm a trained fighter. It would be like going out in my neighborhood and there's a guy's out, you know, putting out his trash cans. I just go beat the crap out of him for what? You know, the only reason why I would want to bother somebody in my neighborhood is if he's menacing others in the neighborhood or menacing me or something like that. That's the way I view this. I only go to the fight that liberals pick. But left to myself, I just want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy, you know, putting out my trash can, walking my dog, riding my bike, playing hoops with my, you know, whatever, my friends, that kind of thing, and enjoying family and friends. That's what I really want to do, and that's what we all want to do. And the objective of what we do every day here is to make it easier to do that. Look, we've got the craziest group of people on the planet in this country. Now, I'm talking about, you think liberals in Europe are crazy? We have the most crazy liberals on the planet. These are people that will usher in terrorists in your midst and dare you to profile Muslims who are, you know, or stay away from you, who you know, are praying at the Quran every day, you know, won't even talk to you. And they go, well, why are you profiling him? I've got my eye on him because I know people that look like him tend to blow people up. That's why. But they look at you like you're crazy. They will call you Islamophobic if you even bring it up. The amount of Muslim terrorism in the world. Oh, there you go again, Kevin. Mm-hmm. There I go again, what? Telling you the truth? They will try to convince you that letting illegals into the country works better for us. It'll reduce sex trafficking. It will reduce drugs. It will be a boon to the community. Somebody's got to pick your beans and clean out your pool, Kevin. The pool guy at the house that I rent, he's a white dude. He's not Hispanic. He's not black. He's a white dude. So don't tell me these are jobs that the Mexicans or some other group of people want to do when there's a white dude doing it. There's a white dude doing every job in this country that you claim, that the left claims some illegal wants to do and only wants to do. But I could go on with their lunacy. We played the what if game. Substitute Trump for any of the people that are under fire. Charlie Rose, Al Franken, Weinstein. What if Trump did any of those things? Kevin Spacey? Name them. It would be a cacophony of get him out. He's wrong. Substitute anything that Bill Clinton. How about that one? Substitute Melania Trump or Donald Trump for anything Hillary Clinton's done and ask yourself how the media would be handling it. These people are crazy. They want you to believe you're crazy. They're the ones that are crazy. So, you know, I look at what is it that we want to do? I want to pound them into the dirt so that the next time somebody of character wants to run for an office, we get people of character, not people who will change their mind. Hillary Clinton, you know, she should be in prison. She did the wrong thing with the DNC. This is Elizabeth Warren. Then the next day, well, that's not really what I said. Senator Gillibrand saying Bill Clinton should have been impeached. He should have been kicked out of office, etc. Then coming back the next day and saying, well, you know, I mean, it's a different day now or whatever. You know, sexual assault 25 years ago is very different than it is today. No, it isn't. It's no different. The only difference is somebody got to them and said, you better change your mind. I wish you could see the inside underbelly of politics.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
My producer. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. My producer reminded me that I said when I was doing my Thanksgiving thing in a previous segment that we would take all the politics out. And at the end, I put all the politics in. Well, it's my prerogative. It's my show. This is my juke joint. Anyway, I'm glad you guys are back. I want to recap President Trump's first year. There's a lot going on. And I know, look, the Border Patrol agent that was killed, my heart goes out to this man. It does. My heart goes out to this man. Because Donald Trump wants to build this wall, and he wants to build it for the right reason. Mexico has a southern wall that separates Mexico from El Salvador, El Salvador, and people don't talk about it. It's an amazing piece of construction. And so Donald Trump wants to build a wall to protect America, and he gets fought. By the way, many Democrats have said we need to build a wall. Bill Clinton said it. But no, it's the left has to demonize it. So this man, yet again, another Border Patrol agent gets killed, another one wounded. Who knows? I don't know if he's going to survive. But it was an early morning attack against these agents and happened on November the 19th. And the National Border Patrol Council said the agents were on the ground tracking a group of illegals who then beat the agents with rocks until one was killed and hospitalized. They said they smashed in this guy's skull with rocks, doing his job. Now, here's the interesting part to me is how much of this outrage have you heard from the left saying, I can't believe that people coming into this country illegally have killed a legal law enforcement officer who was doing his job. You're going to hear that from the left? You're going to watch CNN and MSNBC as they show their outrage over this? Well, don't hold your breath. They don't care. They don't care that a family has lost their son, their brother, their uncle, their cousin, their father. They don't care. It doesn't fit the narrative. And illegal, crossing the border into this country. They're all nice, aren't they? They're good for society, cost positive into the economy. They're all good people, right? They're so good, they ambushed two Border Patrol officers doing their job and crushed the skull of one, killing him dead, and the other one is in serious condition in the hospital. We don't know what's going to happen to him just yet. These stories so upset me because, see, I'm not putting one life over the other. I believe all human life is precious. But what I do know is this. We don't have Americans going into Mexico, killing their law enforcement officers for any reason. We go into a country and we go there respectfully, generally legally. We respect their laws. We aren't out there killing folks. Mexican nationals come to this country every single day, and some of them have nothing but bad intentions. Gangbangers, bringing dope, child pornography, sex trafficking, ushering in other terrorist organizations and so on. And the left, if you bring it up, they want you to think you're crazy. Anyway, I feel sorry for this young man who died, and I wish there was more we could do for him. I wish I had a bigger voice on behalf of him. See, because the left isn't going to speak for him. Now, we'll have some other people do it. I hope so. I hope people that have bigger profiles than I do can talk to him. But anyway, I want to segue that into what Donald Trump wanted to accomplish his first year. And everybody talks about build the wall. We are in the throes of how we're going to build this border wall. And your responsibility as an American is to make sure that when the left brings it up, you say that wall's getting built. And we just had a Border Patrol officer who got killed and another one's in the hospital. And that is exactly the reason why this thing needs to be built. So you shut your mouth, leftist. But let's talk about other aspects of what Donald Trump promised. Because it's been one heck of a year, folks. He promised that he would get us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. Check. We're out. And I love when people say, what are we going to do? How are we going to trade with people? How do we trade if we aren't part of a group? Yeah, that's so ridiculous. It's like saying I'm part of a shopping network, but if I don't shop with the shopping network, there's nothing available for me to go buy. Look, let me tell you something. You could be part of a shopping network, but there are millions of people that aren't. We buy products every day. So the idea that the United States must be part of a TPP, we're the single biggest economy per capita in the world, maybe second only to Japan, and I'll have to look at the numbers, but it's close. But we're 25% of the GDP of the world. You think we need to worry about trading partners? So it was a good thing that we got out of that. The next thing that Donald Trump did, oh, by the way, and he's still getting us out of NAFTA. He's got Mexico and Canada on notice. And if you don't think Mexico's going to pay for that wall, you're out of your mind. They're going to pay for it. But I'm going to move on. Paris Climate Accord. Out. Check. The lunacy of Americans paying for air is no longer a possibility for the next 7+ years because Donald Trump said enough is enough. Good. Lock her up. Ongoing. Hillary Clinton's making her own problems for herself. Now, Donald Trump came out initially, said he wasn't going to go after her. I wasn't happy about that. But now Hillary's back on the hot seat. Who knows? His SCOTUS pick, that was right out of the gate. Gorsuch. So we got a win there. That's a check. Decertifying the Iran nuclear deal. Check. What are we doing in a deal that doesn't allow us to check these fools out? North Korea, ongoing, but at least we're addressing it. He deployed ships in the 7th Fleet that went over there, the South China Sea and various other places to make sure that the North Korea knew, we know where you are. Law enforcement officers are much safer under the president. You will find America's neighborhoods get safer under Donald Trump. Now, the economy. That's not a check. That's a checkmate. And we're early on. I mean, look, I don't like putting a lot of effort, a lot of things into the stock market, but you got to at least pay attention to it. The record setting, it's just been a record setting stock market. What can I tell you? The unemployment numbers. You think that's a just smoke and mirrors? No, it's real, and it's real jobs. I love it. I want Trump to travel. You know why? Because he's brilliant when he travels, and we get stuff when he comes back. I don't know what the package is if he was able to get from Asia, but it's been miraculous in terms of what I know about it. 2 major car manufacturers now building facilities have agreed to build facilities in America. Checkmate, folks. And there's more to come. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
It's me, Kathy Griffin, and I'm doing what I call a State of the Union YouTube video. So I hope you watch this on YouTube. It'll probably be like about 5 minutes. What's the date?
Saturday, November 18th.
It's Saturday, November 18th, 2017. I kind of lose track because I'm on a world tour. All right, so what I want to address today is I'm getting a lot of online hate from trolls who think I've lost my mind. And I'm admitting I lost my mind. It's what made me a star in the first place. But I just want to be honest. Like, as far as what we're going through and hoping this is a turning point for feminism and women's equality, pardon me, I just want you to know that at 57, for me, it's not a marathon. It's a sprint. So I don't have a lot of time to be patient. And, I read today that my pal Lena Dunham is sticking up for some male writer that was accused of sexual harassment. And her female partner, Jenny Connor, who Judd Apatow handpicked for her, and nobody's ever handpicked anybody for me. I don't know the details, but my first instinct is, girl, that's not helping the movement. And it's a movement. And the sun is coming out of the clouds as I say that. So, don't be too hard on Lena. Don't be too hard on me. And I just want you guys to know I'm fully in the middle of a blacklist. Like, I am in the middle of a Hollywood blacklist. It is real. I am not booked on any talk shows. I'm selling tickets worldwide, which is really hard when you don't have any kind of a television platform and kind of nobody has your back and everyone thinks you're crazy. But a handful of people think I'm kind of on to something. So I just want you guys to know, when I get home, I do not have one single day of paid work in front of me.
Ramblings of a Mad Woman. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, 844-551-8255. And you can write to us at kjradio.com. Kathy Griffin talks about her online hate, trolls who think she's lost her mind. And then, in the very next statement, she admits that she has indeed lost her mind. But she calls the people that recognize that she's lost her mind trolls. See, a troll is somebody who writes to you. I've got a troll. I've got a couple of them. They write to you and they say things like, "You a sorry sucker, blah, blah, blah. I can't stand you," whatever. And you go, is there like a reason? So one guy, he writes to me, says he literally called me a sack of crap, a liar, tool of the man, whatever, tool of the white man. And I go, why? I mean, I fired back at him, but my question was exactly why am I all this, you blah, 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 this, that, and the other that I won't say on the radio. So then he says, because you're against Obama. And I go, really? That's all it took. I said, so you can explain to me what Obama's done positively for blacks so that I can be all fawning over the man, because I give you everything. I don't dislike Obama. I can't stand Obama. He all cool and stuff. Now that's somebody you could go, he's a piece of crap. If that's my beef with Obama, is that I'm mad because he got ahead and didn't do the typical crap thing that blacks, especially black leftists, tend to be part of. And I'm not going to rule out black conservatives. Black conservatives are, in many cases, are crabs too. They don't want people to succeed. But the whole point is this: if I'm mad at Obama because I think he's too cool and he thinks he's something and all that, then you could call me whatever you want. I would take it. But when I'm mad at Obama because I say he squandered the probably the best potential to make blacks think differently, to have blacks understand the power and the beauty of the black culture, the subculture that is a part of American culture, and brought us up into the forefront of that in a positive way. I would be overwhelmed with Barack Obama. But he didn't do that. And for somebody to be mad at me because I have an opinion that is based on experience and based on how this man's policies have hurt me, friends of mine, how they've impacted this country negatively, and the bigger picture is how he has ruined the black community by making blacks believe that we're owed something. Look at what these athletes did in China. I don't know whether these guys are super talented or, can make the NBA or not. But here's what I do know. They're playing basketball for UCLA. That's not easy. And they go to a foreign country to steal. That's the legacy of Obama. Guys that potentially are going to sign multi-million-dollar contracts to do something that they love. And they feel so entitled that when they travel abroad representing this country, representing their school, representing their sport, they steal. And then when one of them comes home, when Donald Trump frees them, do black people say, "Congratulations, Donald Trump, we appreciate what you did"? No. You get trolls like this guy who writes to me and tells me, I'm a piece of crap because I don't like Obama. And so I ask him, what other black people am I required to like? Am I required to like Sharpton? Am I required to like the serial killer in Atlanta who killed all those black kids? Am I required to like him too? Who explain to me what blacks I can like, what blacks I can't like? It just makes no sense. Anyway, Kathy Griffin thinks she's being trolled. So she's not being trolled. People are recognizing exactly what's happening with Kathy Griffin. She's losing her mind. And what's wrong with Kathy is she's used to her D-list celebrity antics getting her promoted, making her bigger than life. And they're not. People looked at what she did, cutting off Trump's head, and said, you know what? That's not cool. On multiple levels. But the thing that the left really hate about that? They don't hate that she cut off Donald Trump's head, President Trump's head. They hate that it was a reference to Islam. Oh, I know, we didn't cover that angle because the press doesn't want to cover it. They want you to believe Kathy Griffin has been being ostracized because she cut off Trump's head. Look, Hollywood controls everything that's going on. Do you think Hollywood suddenly loves Donald Trump? They're making a transition of sorts, but they don't love him. But what they hated what she did was she put the spotlight on something they do love, which is Islam. And creating Islam and tying it to the severed head of Donald Trump, that's imagery no leftist wants. That's why she's being ostracized. And she's 57 years old. I don't know if you see the video, she looks horrible. But she says, I'm not in a marathon, it's a sprint. She's suffering, folks. She's suffering financially. She's suffering mentally. She's having a mental breakdown because she's so used to those things being good. She figured when I cut off Donald Trump's head, I will have work for the rest of my life. And it didn't work out that way. But here's another interesting thing about that clip. She talks about Lena Dunham. She says, Lena Dunham, you can't stand up for a writer who is a sexual predator and expect that everybody's going to be cool with that. That and her exact words were, you're not helping the movement. See, the movement is afoot that says when a man is accused of something, leave it alone, Lena. And Lena Dunham's trying to protect the guy. She lost one of her black writers to her show, Girls or whatever, quit over this. And also let us in on a little secret that Lena Dunham, who the girl knew in college, is a racist. So the black chick that went to work for Lena after college says, oh, Lena's a racist. I'll get to that in a bit. They call it hipster racism. You're going to learn some new terms here today. But what's interesting is while Kathy Griffin says, Lena Dunham, you can't do that. It's not good for the movement. In the very next sentence, you go back and play this clip at another time on demand at kjradio.com, and you'll hear you'll see I'm telling you the truth. She then says, don't be too hard on Lena. And then she says, don't be too hard on me. Now, who's being hard on her? Who employs Kathy Griffin? She says, I'm being blacklisted. What power does Donald Trump have in Hollywood to blacklist Kathy Griffin? None. Who's blacklisting her? She says, and this is one of the more interesting parts of what she says in her breakdown. She says, but I'm selling tickets worldwide. You try to do that without a show. Okay, well, I'll tell you this. I did a comedy event, a couple of comedy events. Our tour, but what do we call it? No, that was me and Joe. The Reparations Comedy Tour. And I didn't have a TV show. We had to go sell the thing out through radio hits and stuff like that. But what was interesting was she says, I'm selling out. And she was doing this from Austria, I believe. And she says, who knew the Austrians would want to book me? So Kathy Griffin now has to do work. She can no longer rely on the celebrity of Kathy Griffin. She actually has to go out, book her own things, do things for herself, and she's panicked because she's never had to do that. See, you and I, we know how to work.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, talking about Kathy Griffin. And you may be saying, Kevin, why are we talking about Kathy Griffin? There's so many other things going on. I know. Thanksgiving's coming up. You're about to spend time with family and friends, yada, yada. Kathy Griffin is significant for a lot of reasons, not because of Kathy Griffin, but because of the underlying reasons of what's happening with Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin cuts off the head of the president as a joke, and now she doesn't have work. She's lamenting her life. She spent a lot of years to get to where she is, and now it's all crumbling over one incident that she knew would be good. And I talked about it in the sense of Hollywood gets it because Kathy said in the first clip we played in the last segment, I'm blacklisted. I have no work when I return home from Austria. She's panicked because her lifestyle is about to change. We're not changing it. We didn't pay attention to Kathy Griffin to begin with. Conservatives. If Kathy Griffin had said on the Kevin Jackson show, Kevin Jackson's blacklisted me, none of my fans pay attention to Kathy Griffin. At least I don't believe so. I mean, we wouldn't make a dent. So who's blacklisting her and why? Kathy Griffin can't understand this. One thing has changed, and the one thing that changed was something she went, this should make you want me. So what I'm telling you folks is you have to understand the undercurrent. Even though Hollywood is dominated supposedly by leftists, Kathy Griffin has been blacklisted. Now, it isn't all because of Trump. It's because of the linkage of Trump to Islam. The symbolism of Trump getting his head cut off and her holding it up. That's what ISIS does. It's tough to go against that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I should say it's tough to support that for Hollywood. So they could support her going after and trashing Trump. Look at Colbert. Look at Seth, what's his face, and all these other late night hacks. They can go against you talking smack against Trump, but they can't go against you talking smack against things that they are trying to set narratives for. And that's what Kathy did. So she doesn't understand it. And part of it is, I believe, Trump is making an impact in Hollywood. More people than you think support him. They don't know how to say it except by not saying it. And Kathy Griffin's experiencing the fallout. But she had another clip, and I want to play clip 2. Get that ready for me, because it was even more revealing some of the things that she talks about beyond the blacklist.
People that want me to go back and start in clubs and do 10 minutes again, I don't mean to be an asshole, but no, I'm not going to do that. I've worked way too hard to go back and work for free and do the club scene again, because this is some bull, because I've been blacklisted. So I actually got another fundraising email from the great Norman Lear, and I just had to write back and go, yeah, none of you can ask me for money anymore. Okay, my legal bills are through the roof, obviously, because I'm doing something I really believe in. And I still say the end goal is for younger women and younger LGBT folks or disenfranchised people of any kind can watch me survive, and with a sense of humor. So I just want to say, like, I have a show tonight in Vienna. I never thought I'd be able to play Vienna. Every single country I've played, I can't believe that there are hundreds, if not thousands of people that don't even speak English as their first language, as if I do. That's my opener. And I'm very heartened by that.
All right, everybody. Kevin Jackson. This is a Kevin Jackson show. I would tell you I almost feel sorry for Kathy Griffin, but not for the reasons you think. I see this lady spiraling out of control. Here's what I'm going to make a prediction, and I don't wish this on her. When she comes back from Vienna and she does the show, she's not going to have anything. She's already said she has nothing booked. She's not going to have anything consistent. And Kathy Griffin's going to get a rude wake-up call. See, many of us have felt it. We have been laid off at jobs. In some cases, like I'll use me as an example, they shut down the division in the company that we were going to be building. Abruptly, they didn't honor our contract in terms of what they wanted us to accomplish, but they paid us off. So we all left. And many of us were in limbo. I was one of them. I wrote a book and thought, woohoo, my first month we brought in $37,000 for my book. I thought, well, it doesn't replace my income, but it's pretty good, and I thought it was going to trend upward. It didn't. The next month we brought in $2,000 from the book. The next month, $1,000. And I was panicked because, I'm thinking, I wasn't living crazy, but between taxes and all the other commitments I had, I was like, if I don't get this income back up here fast, I'm in big trouble. I can't survive on $1,000 a month. So, it was a panic, and I made the adjustment. It cost me a lot of money, and I made the adjustment and turned it into a living, writing books and speaking and so on. But Kathy Griffin doesn't have a clue. She doesn't. And I'll tell you something else. She doesn't want to work. You heard what she said. I know the people that want me to start in clubs again, do my 10 minutes. She's effectively said, I'm not going back to stand up. And her comment was, I've worked too hard to build my career, which is the reason why she won't go back. And that's translated to, I won't rebuild my career. I'm not willing to put in the work at the age of 57 that I put in at the age of 27. It's not going to happen. And so when you ask yourself, why doesn't, why do we have people that are unemployed at the age of 40? It's just Kathy Griffin's giving you the answer. She's a leftist. She's not going to rebuild her career. She's not going to do what it takes to survive. It's either feast or famine. I've done it. I paid my dues, and I'm not going to learn something new. Too prideful. No, it's not going to happen. And then she goes after the people that she's helped all this time. Norman Lear, he sends me a fundraising letter. Well, she took the time to write Norman Lear back. Norman Lear, he's a big time leftist. He produced Archie Bunker and I believe the Jeffersons. He was a hit maker in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s. And so apparently he has a fundraiser every year. And if you know how leftist fundraisers work, they effectively expect you to deliver a certain amount of money. You've seen like The Apprentice, where the person takes on the challenge to raise money. They expect you to bring a certain amount of dollars into the fund. So they say, we're going to give you a ticket, but we expect that you're going to bring enough to fill a table, and that table will be $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000, whatever. And Kathy's going, no, I don't have any money. I got legal fees, blah, blah, blah. While Kathy's problems are self-inflicted, what she's really saying to you is, Hollywood's abandoned me. I've donated money. I've donated time. I've done my stuff. I've paid my dues. And why are these people not coming to my aid? Where are the people I thought would support me? Where's this movement that's supposed to be backing me? Where are my feminists? Yeah. She says she's got a cause. She's fighting for the disenfranchised. Kathy reminds me of Chelsea Handler. You know, Chelsea, who gave up that great career at Netflix because nobody was watching her show. And now she said, I'm going to become a social justice warrior. And she's getting the rude awakening. Number one, it doesn't pay. And number two, you're on the wrong side of it. So Kathy now has a cause, the cause of women. I played the thing earlier where she chastised Lena Dunham and then said, but don't hold it against her. And by the way, don't hold it against me either. I've got a cause. My cause is women. I find it interesting that a woman who has fought all her life for feminism, or whatever she's decided the fight is, needs a man. All of this could have been solved if Kathy Griffin had done her shtick and said, you know what? I got a guy. I leave, I go do my stuff, I come home to a man, to a relationship, to something that's real, to something that the left hasn't, made her feel as if it's the wrong thing to do. What Kathy is lacking, all this emptiness, is based on the idea of a biblical principle that you go find yourself somebody that rounds you out in the opposite sex, that will give you warmth when you come home, gives you a feeling of strength. What Kathy Griffin is afraid, she's rightful to fear it, by the way. She's rightful to do it. And I'm not going to make a distinction between men and women and how people think, but I'll tell you this. When the realization hit me that my book sales were not going to be what I anticipated, I didn't think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to get a TV show, and I'm not going to go back to do stand-up. I just said, looks like, Kevin, you got to go to work, bro. I didn't look over at anybody in my life that's a female and go, oh, this person will take care of me. I said, I'm going to make it work because that's what guys do. Kathy's afraid and has reason to be because she's about to experience life as a man.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. There's this thing called hipster racism. And I'm going to read a piece from an article, and it has to do with Lena Dunham and a friend of hers she went to college with who was a writer on her program called Girls. And this young black girl who was a writer is essentially lamenting, is saying why she left and lamenting working for Lena Dunham, who apparently she went to college with. Now, here's what it says. Zinzi Clemens issued her own statement on Twitter, writing that she would no longer write for Lenny Letter and urging other writers of color to eschew writing for Dunham, whom she accused of being a racist. Clemens began by alleging that having known Dunham since they were in college together, she witnessed Dunham's racism firsthand. Clemens wrote, "For all you writers who are outraged by what she did, I encourage you to do the same, especially women of color. She cannot have our words if she doesn't respect us. To eliminate any doubt, I know exactly who Lena Dunham is and who she was before she was famous and have for years, and I will tell you. Now, Clemens wrote that she's known Dunham since their college years. They shared overlapping social circles. Clemens noted that she, quote, avoided these people like the plague because of their racism, adding, I'd call their strain hipster racism, which typically uses sarcasm as a cover, and in the end, it looks a lot like gaslighting. It's a joke. It's just a joke. Why are you overreacting? She said she's heard people use the N-word and try to act like it was all a joke. Now, here's what's interesting about this. This black chick, Zinzi Clemens, goes to work for her partner, her buddy, Lena Dunham, who is a troll. This is a very vile human being that admits to molesting her own sister, and Hillary Clinton's friends with her, does interviews with her. Anyway, this black chick knows Lena Dunham and supposedly knows of her racism. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't listen to blacks coming out of college that are under the age of 40 years old talking about racism. And here's why. They don't understand it. They've been educated about racism in ways that you and I go, what? That's racist? So anyway, this young girl goes to work for her friend who she knows, according to her definition, is a racist. But she only gets mad at her, and I'm presuming this is when Lena Dunham stood up for a man who she said, wasn't a sexual harasser or something like that. That's kind of where all this thing has come from, is this idea that there's a guy who Lena Dunham protected. Now, early in the broadcast, I played a clip from Kathy Griffin who says, I don't understand why Lena Dunham would do this. Now, I want to step back for a second and ask, why would Lena Dunham protect a guy? She's a feminist, a lesbian who's molested her sister, has written many, many TV shows now, a couple of them anyway, successful TV shows, is a Hollywood darling, even though not much to look at. Friends of Hillary Clinton. Why is she standing up for some guy? Maybe it's because she's got a conscience. Look, I don't know anything about this guy's story. I'm not even going to bother with it. But here's what I will tell you. Women will accuse men of doing things that they haven't done in order to play the gender card. Don't act like you don't know it exists. Look at divorce settlements where a woman will say of the father of her children, he molested my children, knowing that he didn't. Or he used to beat the kids. Or he used to beat me. Why? For personal gain. I want the kids. I want to make your life miserable. I want more money in a divorce settlement. And I could go on. Look, I'm not going to tell you that things against women don't occur. They absolutely do. And every time they're atrocious. And it's like when I talk about black issues, I wouldn't tell you that there aren't issues where cops have overreacted with blacks, where racism hasn't existed with blacks. But what I will tell you is the overwhelming times that it's said that it's happened, it hasn't. It's a figment of people's imagination, and it's been used against people. Darren Wilson is a perfect example. A police officer doing his job, and everybody talking about, he shot that boy, he had his hands. There was nothing close to that. And I could go on with many, many other instances where people have blatantly lied. And then I could actually make it personal. I could tell you stories, family and against myself, where people have blatantly lied. Provable. But they still lie. So I'm not going to diminish the idea of these acts occurring. Not at all. I'm not naive. I know they occur. But here's what I will tell you. All we're talking about here, when we look at all these issues we're dealing with, John Conyers is in the news because he paid off a woman on his staff who he sexually, made sexual innuendos and overtures to, a Congressional Black Caucus member, that he'll tell you he's standing up for women. The women who watched him do it, they'll tell you they're standing up for women. They're Democrats. Look at almost every place we're evaluating this, it's Democrats. And you know what they do? They want to have a poster child. So they take Roy Moore and they say, look at what he did. Oh my goodness, 35, 40 years ago, he did this. Really? Well, you know what? Al Franken did his not long ago. Bill Clinton did his and is still doing his. He's flying on planes that are set up with mattresses. The stuff surrounding him and Epstein going to this island so they can molest kids it's well known. But anyway, back to this black chick who's now mad at her friend who gave her a job, who she now says is racist. Now, I don't know anything about Lena Dunham except the little bit I tell you. I think she must be talented because they're giving her work. I don't know. That's for you to decide. I don't watch her shows. I told you my thoughts about her just from a looks perspective. And knowing the little bit that I have learned about her, I think she's a vile human being. But somebody thinks she's talented. And the girl that was her friend in college, a black chick, she said, hey, Lena, can you hook a girl up with a job? And she did it. And now Lena Dunham says, somebody's being unfair to this man. I know this guy, and I'm not saying she's a good person for character, but my suspicion is she probably does know this guy and that something did not happen. Whatever they're saying occurred did not occur. And she's trying to come to this guy's defense, and now they want to jump on her. See, that's liberalism. You don't know who to believe. But I'll tell you this, I don't need to defend any of them, but I will defend us men, conservative men. Back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Kevin Jackson. It's Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. The question is, did Mueller expand his investigation to include Barack Obama, Eric Holder, and Loretta Lynch? See, Mueller's got a lot of explaining to do. They make him out to be the most pious man in D.C., and I don't believe it. Newsweek reported this a while back. The FBI said it had no comment to Newsweek's questions about whether Mueller alerted senior Obama administration officials, including Clinton, about the investigation before they brokered the deal. The DOJ did not immediately respond to questions. As Secretary of State, Clinton, along with then Attorney General Eric Holder, presided on the U.S. Committee on Foreign Investment that approved the deal. They're talking about the Uranium One deal. Now, this would have been enough for somebody to be clamoring to shut down this investigation if it was going against a Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, if Donald Trump had assigned somebody that had colluded with the team that set up the deal. But the left haven't said anything. So anyway, according to True Pundit, U.S. Special Counsel Mueller's sweeping investigation into President Donald Trump's White House expanded its probe into President Obama's White House. Expanded into the tenures of Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch in their official roles as U.S. Attorney General for Obama's 2 terms in the White House. And it says here, Mueller's team for the first time has requested a number of DOJ records and emails related to Holder and Lynch, including additional records linked to Obama and Valerie Jarrett, who served as Obama's senior advisor during the time that he was in the White House. And this is according to federal law enforcement sources. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't know if this is real or not. True Pundit, we've used before. I haven't found any fake news on their site, like they're no CNN, but I couldn't verify any of this. Now, is it highly likely? Yes. Anyway, he goes on to say this. The revelations could indicate that Mueller's looking at Obama and his Justice Department's role in attempts to secure FISA warrants to spy on the Trump campaign in 2015 and 16, or he's delving into the Uranium One debacle, even though Mueller himself is implicated in this growing scandal. Now, here's why I don't think it can be Uranium One, because Mueller's implicated. Now, he writes this: a cynical investigator would hypothesize Mueller could be getting an early and discreet look at the Uranium One records to gauge any evidence implicating his personal exposure. It would not be the first time Mueller bent a few laws. However, such a feat would be difficult to pull off in such a team-oriented investigation setting. So I agree with all of that. That's why I don't think it's Uranium One. I think it's, can they look at the FISA warrants? They did not confirm, according to the True Pundit, whether Mueller is specifically seeking the records. But the guy says we can read between the lines, although there are many known and emerging Obama-linked scandals at play. Now, there's enough reason for Mueller to investigate almost the entire Obama administration. So this story is certainly believable that he would expand the investigation. And let me give you one example. Obama claimed to not know about Hillary Clinton's private server. There was a record of this. Then we discovered that he indeed knew about her private server because he responded back to her on it. He had sent her emails on the private server. So given that revelation, one can see that why Mueller would expand his probe into the emails of at least Obama. And as far as Holder goes, I mean, look, this guy's been needed to be investigated for a while. And we all know that Lynch, how she's escaped an investigation up to this point means that she's got a lot of dirt on some people. The meeting on the tarmac warranted an investigation months ago. And the fact that Loretta Lynch used a code name in her correspondence with Bill Clinton was the first clue that we needed to be looking into that. Then, when we finally get the notes on that meeting from the FBI, what do they show? Redacted. Explain to me how the two of them claim, oh, we talked about our grandchildren and golfing and vacations or whatever. Then why was it redacted? If you got nothing, unless you just want the names of your grandchildren out. Yeah, well, Benny he's now, in the 3rd grade, and, little Jill is over here doing this. Take the names out. But, I mean, have you seen the documents? It reads like a spy novel. Where they've got all the redactions. And finally, add to this the undocumented meeting where by happenstance these two ended up on the tarmac in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was a grounds crew person who went, that's weird. That looks like an official president. I don't know all the details, but he spotted him and went, that's not right. and alerted the media, who then told us they were there, because had it not been for that very observant young man, we would not even have known that meeting had ever occurred. It was an undocumented meeting. And understand the backdrop of what was going on there, where Loretta Lynch, who's already said to Comey, don't call this an investigation, call it a what did she say to call it? Like, call it an issue or something, something benign, but don't refer to it as an investigation. And so he obliged. So Hillary Clinton is formally under investigation that they're telling, don't use that term, running interference for him. Then they have this clandestine meeting with a code word and redacted formal, understanding of what was discussed at the meeting, and they want you to believe it's all on the up and up. So we should have had this investigation months ago. That's common sense. And Mueller should have recused himself. So unless he plans to actually do the right thing and convict this cadre of leftist crooks, he needs to get out. Because I suspect he's pulling a Comey. He's gathering information together so that he can purge it. And if I were the FBI, I'd monitor orders for bleach bit and hammers. What kind of hammer did they use? I would just look for stuff. Because let me tell you something. This is a scandal beyond biblical proportions. And the left know it. They understand this. Their house of cards is so precariously built that any small gust of scandal is going to make it come falling down. So I'm anxious to see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks, if it turns out that Mueller is investigating. And again, I looked for multiple sources when we were talking about this. We wrote about it, and I made sure people understood that, look, I don't make any bones that we got information here. And there were no references from two pundits. They say they got this information directly from sources. Is that true? We'll find out very shortly. But I'll tell you this, even if it isn't true, it certainly should be. And that's the way we cover it.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Everybody knows the iconic Marion Barry. 3 or 4-time mayor of D.C., was it? Multiple times. And it was horrible. D.C. turned into yet another city that becomes a cesspool. They chased all of the entrepreneurs and the people that spur, ingenuity and what have you, and they chased them out to Virginia and to Baltimore, etc., and left D.C. just to be quite frankly, a escape from New York scenario. And Marion Barry, as you guys know, was a crackhead, and he's a clinic in what happens when you let leftists run a city, and particularly black leftists. Now, people will get mad at me and say, Kevin, there you go, making it racial and all. No, it's Democrats run cities into the ground, and black Democrats run them into the ground faster. That's just the truth. Marion Barry, it was horrible what this guy did to D.C. He used nepotism and cronyism to put all these people around him, and then it became yet another corrupt system. It should be the representative city of America, and it became a corrupt cesspool, and it remains that. It doesn't matter what deal is being brokered or whatever. It's all political. It's all money changing hands, graft and greed, and just you name it, that whatever could be negative about a deal, you can find it in D.C. on steroids. And under Marion Barry, it was horrible. I remember when I was writing papers about this guy, or articles, and trying to figure out just you couldn't even tell where the corruption ended. everybody in his administration had their hand out. It was like dealing with an African nation. And I know how that works because I've dealt with them. You know the beauty of dealing with the corrupt nations of the world, particularly those in Africa? You know exactly what the payoff is based on the level. You got a $1 to $5 payoff. You got a $5 to $20 payoff. You got a $21 to $100 payoff, and so on. And you knew what level you were working with based on what the guy was looking for. Well, Kevin, that will cost you. How much will that cost me, buddy? That's going to cost you about $60. Okay. So you knew what level of bureaucrat. If it was going to cost you a few thousand, you were at the contract stage. And so everybody knew it. Everybody in government goes, if you want to, I can do your paperwork, but if you want it to happen and you want it to happen right away, it's $20. Boom, here you go. Oh, you need to get a second signature. He's $100. Got it. Boom, there you go. You pay up enough the food chain and you get the deals. And it's a sorry system because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer because it's whoever can pay for the deals. And Marion Barry ran D.C. very much the same. You had city council people, you had assistants to this, deputy this, blah, 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 and they're all getting their little cut of the pie while the people suffer. Worst schools, some of the worst schools in the country, worst hospitals, you name it. And Marion Barry would go back to the Fed and he'd say, hey, we need more money. And then Congress has to vote them up because they don't run like a regular city. They're not taxed like a regular city. So they'd go to Congress and get more money. Now, I don't know how things worked in D.C. with respect to like retail taxes and all that, but they were mostly funded by taxpayer dollars. And Barry would constantly go back and get more money. But they weren't getting more money to improve things for for D.C., to make the place safer. And it became a very dangerous place to live. Still is for the most part. But the reason why I'm talking about this and talking about D.C. rather, and Marion Barry in particular, is because they want to honor the man. So here's the clip. Tucker Carlson was talking to the guy who wanted to honor him. And when you hear this clip, we're going to dissect it. But if you hear what I hear, you'll be angry.
Across America, during our own cultural revolution, all kinds of statues are being torn down for all kinds of offenses, whether it's racism or imperialism or existing more than 200 years in the past. But here in Washington, D.C., the city council wants to build a brand new statue honoring deceased Mayor Marion Barry. Barry, of course, had a long history of racially charged remarks. He was a convicted drug offender, too. Does he deserve the high honor? Jack Evans is a longtime D.C. city councilman. Everyone in town knows Jack Evans. He supports the Barry statue. He joins us tonight. Jack, thanks for coming on.
Oh, Tucker, thanks for having me.
So no one would deny the charm of Marion Barry. I know you served with him on the city council for a long time. Yep. But roguish doesn't really begin to capture Barry. He was like truly a terrible mayor and openly a race baiter and kind of without real achievement. Why would you make him the subject of a statue?
Well, I have to say, he was an iconic figure here in local Washington.
He was, for sure.
Without a doubt. And so it was one of my ideas to have a statue to him because of what he was able to do for the African-American population in our city and for the city itself. Now, remember, you wind the clock back when he came into office in 78. The city was new. First elected mayor was in 75. And he was able to, in his first term at least, really create a Washington that we have built on since that time.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So Tucker sets the stage for Marion Barry. He introduces the not congressman, but I guess he's somebody intrinsic to D.C. politics, Jack Evans, and he says, Jack, you've served with Mayor Barry. What are your thoughts? Because Tucker says he's a rogue. He's a race baiter without real achievement. And Jack Evans didn't argue. And Tucker says to him, so why is it you want to have the statue built for him? And he says, well, yeah, I'm the one who wanted this. Now, Jack Evans is a white guy. Seems like a nice guy. He says, we need to honor the man. Now, again, Tucker says the guy's a rogue, a race baiter without real achievement. All very true. Jack Evans doesn't deny it, but says, well, Mary Berry was an iconic figure. So was Robert E. Lee. So was Bull Connor. I mean, there are lots of icons. Is he saying that everybody loved him or what? That's just not true. He says, I want a statue of him because of what he did for blacks in D.C. and the city itself. At least he gave himself some wiggle room by saying in the city itself, because why would you honor somebody for what they did for blacks? What you want to honor somebody for is what they do for humanity. I'll use Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. did something for humanity. He didn't do it for blacks. He called upon the vicious nature of white Democrats and said to, or I should say the vicious white Democrats, and called upon them to look at their nature and say, look, you know this is wrong. That's what he did. He didn't do that for blacks. He did that for humanity. That's not something that's just, oh, okay, well, now that we've got white people that don't hate blacks, it's okay for black people to hate whites, because Dr. Martin Luther King would be, Reverend Martin Luther King, I should say, would be just as appalled at black people today doing exactly what whites used to do to us, to them. He'd be appalled. He'd be angry. He'd be hurt. So people that, oh, that was for black people. So Marion Barry, if he was going to improve D.C., he shouldn't have been improving D.C. for blacks. He should have been improving D.C. for humanity. What is it to do? We're going to improve it for blacks. So somebody nailed that down. Well, we're going to put a hip hop club at every corner? We're going to allow drugs to be dealt openly? What? What are you going to improve for blacks? And I'm not trying to belittle the black community. I happen to be part of it. But what I will tell you is, don't do me any favors. How about you help our city? How about you help our country? How about you help humanity? And then I'll let the chips fall where they may. I'm going to help blacks. What is it? What problem do we suffer that this guy believes Barry needs to single us out? That's unbelievable to me. And he says, well, 19 said, he was elected in 78, but, our first elected mayor was in 75. Okay, well, what does all the dates have to do with this? He says they then built on to Washington, the continuing legacy of Marion Barry. So if Washington turns out to be good, it all started out because a crackhead mayor got caught in an FBI sting and the city improved. If the city improves right now, it will have nothing to do with Marion Barry. You know what it'll have to do with? You guys know the answer. It'll have to do with Donald Trump. It'll have to do with the way he changes the nature of how these people think. Go to D.C., you'll see what I'm talking about. The biggest snobs in the country live there. You think you've met a snob on the West Coast, Beverly Hills, or somewhere in California? Forget about it. Biggest snobs in the world. Right there on the Potomac, D.C.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Kevin Jackson here. KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255 if you want to reach us. We are embroiled in a situation right now, a time in America where the women's movement feels like it's making gains. I guess the LGBTs have taken a back step to women, and now suddenly women are under fire. We're hearing of allegations that date back decades, and suddenly it's all come to the fore. And Harvey Weinstein did it, a leftist Democrat, progressive, who claims that he's building the careers of young women when in fact he's taking advantage of them. The women's movement watched him do it, him and others, and said nothing. And suddenly it's all men's fault. And we've got, look, the explosion's been crazy. Weinstein first is the big news. And then suddenly we had Kevin Spacey, and now it's gone through Conyers, John Conyers, member of the Congressional Black Circus. He paid off a woman. Then we find out Congress has paid $15 million or $17 million, whatever. It's quite a bit of money as hush money to various people in Congress. We don't know who they are. My suspicion is most of them are going to be Democrats. Because let me tell you, if it were Republicans, you wouldn't have enough hush money to cover it up. So I want to know. I think you deserve to know. I think we as taxpaying citizens deserve to know. So we had Conyers, and now we've already had Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton should have been the Weinstein of his day. Think about that. Clinton was a horrible person. In fact, the video that's been circulating is when Hillary almost gets hit by the camera lights. And she and Bill Clinton, they were asked by 60 Minutes, I think, I forget the guy's name. They were asked by 60 Minutes, were you having these affairs? And Bill Clinton said, no. And then all of it falls. It's almost like a lightning bolt struck and hit him. Hillary was about to go into, what you have to understand is these women are going to lie. No, what we have to understand is that you people are going to lie. So while Bill Clinton was running for office, he was asked point blank, did you have affairs, etc.? He said no, it was a lie. Then he gets elected, and of course we know the outcome of that. He got impeached because of Paula Jones, and the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back was Lewinsky being seen in every picture. This guy, every time Bill Clinton was around, there was Lewinsky. So we find out, through Linda Tripp, that she kept the evidence of Bill Clinton's shenanigans with her. And he finally tells the truth after he lied and lied and lied about Paula Jones. Of course, got him, as I said, impeached. And on and on. So that's where we stand. We've circled full back to Bill Clinton, the guy who really lit the fuse on it's okay. It's his private life. Whose business is it of yours? We played a clip earlier of Gillibrand saying, 25 years ago is very different from now. And we can't, we've got to apply the same standard now, whatever. You know what? Gobbledygook and double talk, because the standards has been applied for decades. Bill Clinton was wrong then, and he's wrong now. Anybody who supported him then supported a liar. The same way, if you're a supporter of Black Lives Matter, you're a liar. Same way, if you're a supporter of Hillary Clinton and you think that she's the best person for president, you're a liar. The same way you want to try to make people believe that Barack Obama was the best president ever, you're a liar. And I could go on. Liar, liar. Hands on fire. Now, 4 new women accuse Bill Clinton of sexual assault. And I think this is one where the left is saying, you know what, Hillary, if you won't go away, we're going to chase you away. We're sick of you. The Daily Mail reported this story. That Bill Clinton, finds himself back in the spotlight. Daily Mail reports this. They say he's facing explosive new charges of sexual assault from 4 women. Highly placed Democrat Party sources who served in both the Clinton and Obama administrations have apparently broken this story. I'm reading this. The current accusations against 71-year-old former President whose past is littered with charges of sexual misconduct, stemmed from the period after he left the White House in 2001, say the sources. Attorneys representing the women who are coordinating their efforts have notified Clinton they are preparing to file separate lawsuits against him, 4 separate lawsuits. As part of ongoing negotiations, the attorneys for the women are asking for substantial payouts in return for their clients' silence. Now, here again, do I blame these women the way I would blame these Holly weirdo chicks? Nah. It's long past. They should have already have said what they did, but the fact of the matter is there was enough evidence against Bill Clinton that he never should have occupied the Oval Office. Now, I'm not mad at him because he stopped Bush 1 from becoming president, and now that I've learned all that I have about him, I'm not going to say Clinton was a bad president because he probably was a better president than any of the Bushes. I know. Hard to believe that, but probably true. Anyway, back to this. So the Clinton legal team has confirmed the existence of the new allegations. But we're not learning anything new here in the sense that you had to believe there were more women than we are presently aware of. We're probably aware of, and I'm just guessing here, about, say, 10 to 12 women that Bill Clinton had some sort of a sexual tryst with or whatever. All the way from just normal flirtations to out and out rape on his part. So that's where we are with that. Remember back in the 90s, Clinton he's already settled one lawsuit. He paid $850,000 to settle a sexual harassment lawsuit by Paula Jones. She worked for the state of Arkansas when Clinton was governor, and she detailed the story where, and I know I'm not exactly sure about this, but it's close to this. I think Bill Clinton, she was at an event, excited to meet the governor. He invites her up to his room and promptly asks her to perform a sexual act on him. And she was like, no, whatever, and she leaves. And he ruined her career, if I'm not mistaken, and ostracized. She was ostracized for years and finally gets an $850,000 settlement, which isn't a lot of money. Honestly, not for the amount of grief that she went through. And then, of course, she got a nose job or whatever else, maybe some other enhancements. I'll leave it at that. But she was the cause of his impeachment procedure. So that was the beginning. And I don't know if there were other people that settled because we'll probably never know. But the fact is, if we know of 10, you can bet there were at least 40, 50 others. Many other cases not litigated. Juanita Broderick, she's finally getting her due by saying this wasn't just some innocent flirtation. This man raped me. Anyway, they say the negotiation with these 4 ladies has reached a critical stage. They say if they fail, according to sources in Clinton's inner circle, the 4 women are said to be ready to air their accusations of sexual assault at a press conference, making Clinton the latest and most famous figure in a list of men from Harvey Weinstein to Kevin Spacey who've recently been accused of sexual assault. Now, they refer to incidents that took place more than 10 years ago, early 2000s. Clinton was hired by Ron Burkle, Playboy billionaire investor, to work at one of his companies. And Clinton helped Burkle by being an ex-president, flying around with this businessman. And they said on the plane, they would have a flock of beautiful young women at their disposal. And it was the nickname, the joke name of his airplane that Burkle owned was Air Frick One. And I cleaned it up. So it's a play on Air Force One, the middle word being the F word. And I want you to just let that sink in for just a second. When I hear stories like this, I laugh in the face of leftists and the never Trump idiots who dare compare anything Donald Trump did to people like Bill Clinton or Harvey Weinstein or this guy Burkle. And let me tell you, we're going to learn of a lot more of these high-powered Democrats who've done far worse than even Clinton. But Air Blank One, certainly presidential, isn't it, Bill Kristol? I mean, think about this. This is a guy that, there's some class when he saw pictures of Bush with Obama and all these other people. Yeah, that was when class occupied the White House. Yeah, well, I don't like. I find it interesting what the definition of class is by these neocons. Receiving fellatio from an intern while sitting in the Oval Office, multiple trips on Air Blank One, the trips with Epstein to the island, yeah, or whatever.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.